HR for over 27 years across steel, real estate, and mining. Mr. Sarat Kishore Panda.
I have lived my mantra, as I told you, connect, develop, and inspire through my family values of duty and sacrifice.
So, as India moves towards a self reliant future, this Atmanirbhar Bharat vision, I want to ask you something that ties your experience to the country's larger story.
Before typewriter, then comes the mechanical of typewriter. How many people lost their job? They upgrade themselves. Instead of litho machine, they use typewriter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the official podcast by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. This is where we sit down with global thinkers, boardroom change makers, and industry leaders who are shaping the future of leadership through the lens of ESG, digital governance, and purpose driven growth. Today's guest is someone who's led from the front in some of the most challenging, high stake environments in India's industrial landscape. Mr. Sarat Kishore Panda has been a torchbearer of transformation HR for over 27 years across steel, power, real estate, and mining. From leading HR to India's largest integrated steel plant to driving strategy in greenfield zones, from digitizing workforce systems to anchoring compliance in contract labor management, his journey reflects both scale and soul. He's someone who blends tech fluency with emotional intelligence, process discipline with people first values. He's also a community builder, a martial artist, a certified life coach, and someone who believes time isn't just money, it's the currency of impact and trust. Mr. Sarat, it's a privilege to have you with us on FaceTime with Leaders. You're welcome on the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Tanmay, for this warm welcome and this generous welcome. I must appreciate your team and your entire platform. It is really
Sa-
an honor to be here and a privilege to share a little of my journey with such leaders and change makers who care about not just building business but the legacy. I have always believed that leadership is not something less about titles. It is something about about timings, how you show up before with courage and clarity where it matters the most. Having worked across sectors in heavy industries like mining, power, infrastructure, and steel, these are the things where I've been first hand. Now people drive performance and how purpose drive people. Whether leading industry turnarounds or boardroom strategies, my mantra has been always been connect, develop, and inspire. You can have something of duty and sacrifice towards that, but this mantra I always derive this, implement this, and you see the result is humongous. But to reflect on what it takes to lead with both resilience and relevance in today's world, this is something that I need to share with the leaders, those who are listening to us. And if through this conversation, Tanay, if one person can be influenced or maybe inspired, I can say. So this will kind of I'll consider this time well spent with you. Thank you.
And that gets me to our first question, sir. We would love if you could take us through your career journey in your words. Like, where did it begin? And how did the journey shape the leader you've become today?
Oh, that's a $1 million question. Everybody used to ask that, how you started your career and then what way you traveled, what are the challenges you faced. That's a nice question. Thank you so much for asking me such questions. I don't start my career as a grand plan that I'll be in human resource. I started with a curiosity that in mind, my journey has always been about building trust before systems and people before platforms. I have lived my mantra, as I told you, connect, develop, and inspire through my family values of duty and sacrifice. And today, I'm here to share the learnings, the challenges, and the purpose that drives me every day of my life. Tanna, I was trained in technology, law, then maybe self-defense, and in my career some of the acting also to be the star in the movie. But I realized that the real battle is not in the courtroom while I was practicing as an advocate. It is not the legal compliances. It is something that the human complexity, and that's what drew me to human resource. It is never about the paperwork. It is something about the people work, shaping systems where people could drive it. People always talk about boardrooms, big impacts, and but they often forget about how they started, how they began. My story began in a small village, in Odisha, in a joint family where discipline, ethics, values, community services were everyday on my journey. I studied science, I studied law, I studied technology, I studied management in big schools. I studied a lot of leadership sessions and psychoneurobic, to understand the human aspect, the more human complexity, how to address these issues. I also gathered a lot of accolades, awards in life. Recently I achieved the doctorate in human resource, and this shows that my passion towards shaping India, shaping people around me. I see people as human beings with infinite potential. As a leader, you have to create that leadership. That is what fascinates me, to put every day my influence in place. Recognized with many rewards. I told you, in law, management, community services, HRM. Still, I am continuing my journey of learnings through various platforms. Like Director Institute is one of the platform, and this is to unlearn, relearn, and upgrade my understandings about people, process, and performance. That sounds that I have to prepare myself to go with the line of Gen Z. And this is something what attracts me. This 32 years of journey I spent, while 27 years I spent in human resource. I've worked in sector like IT, steel, power, mining, infrastructure, in roles spanning sales, technology, finance, administration, education, law, and lastly, in human resource. I have had the privilege to lead HR and setting up transformational HR strategy for the largest greenfield industries and mines setups. The best challenge was these entire industries were in politically violated regions. So building trust before system and people before platform is very, very essential. I manage the entire employee and workers life cycle from sourcing till exit, whether it is a blue collar worker or a CXO level hiring. I had almost the processing of 1 lakh plus hiring processes. Along with that, 1,000 of CXOs and few thousands of middle management and lakhs of GTs, MTs, and all the entire process I handle. The learning is something which is really, really, amazing. Why I cannot explore everything here because the time slot you have given very short. So I have to be on time. So launching various engagement, grievance, and digital platforms to own the solving problems, it is very essential.
Yeah.
Hiring is not much important. Now, post onboarding, how you retain people, how you engage people. That talent management is something a very good art of living. Today's scenario, every HR is focusing on optimizing number, optimizing that, optimizing this. Have you building Ramu Kaka? Have you seen Ramu Kaka in families? We also hire Ramu Kakas, but they never leave you. Your family, they always there with you on ups and downs. They never leave. So why employees are leaving? This is a question I always remind to people and the leaders. What is happening that in mind? Why there is optimization? Why that is not something upskilling, reskilling, upgrading them, handholding them. This is something a questionnaire I must, put it to the management, to the leadership team, that put it there. You will get the Ramu Kakas in place. You'll get the families in place. They'll never left you. And from
Yeah.
the grassroots industrial side, with no infrastructure, high stake boardrooms, I have learned the truth. Leadership in heavy industries is not about staying in the air conditioning room or offices. It is about putting, helmets. You used to helmets in the plant, and working in the plant and communities. and have a kind of earning trust over conversations. That's something sounds big.
Yeah.
As industries evolve with ESG, as you rightly said, digitalization and new compliance landscapes, I evolve them with them, holding onto my mantra again: connect, develop, and inspire, and values of duty and sacrifice. If you build people, you build everything else. Thank you.
Very well said, sir. I think continuous learning is a very big important part of anyone's career.
Absolutely.
So you've led workforce transformations across some of India's most complex terrains, physically and politically. What was your toughest project and what did it teach you about people?
See, since I have spent 27 years in human resource and almost 30 to 34 years in the industry, there are a lot of challenges I faced, because everybody facing challenge. Even a father, while maintaining his family, he has a lot of challenges in life. Likewise, as a leader in the family of industries, there is the same. I always believe in the mantra of four quadrants of life connect. The four quadrants is self connect. If you connect yourself, you spend time for your kind of yoga, meditation, your learnings, unlearnings, relearnings. That's something that you rule around yourself, connecting with self. Then comes, your profession. How you connect with your profession, that is more important in life. How you connect with your task, your assignment, how you take ownership on that, that is more important. Then comes your family. So there are two family I have. One family is my own family where I live in. I spend time in the night. I spend good time with my family, talking to them and believing that they are the real family. But there is another mantra. Just same concept to apply in your, in a company. They are also families. Your department is not less than a family. The head of department is not than a guardian or fatherly figure. Your colleagues are brothers and sisters. You see, this will impact, and this impacts. I always allow this CDI concept in everywhere. And who all are the society now? The four quadrants of life connect is society connect. Here, society means your padosi, your neighbors. What is happening in neighbors? You always have quarrel, you have debate with neighbors. You don't want to see their face. But whenever you are outside, not at home, and something happened to your family, who is the first person to protect you, to safeguard you, to help you, to support you? That is your neighbor. You need to understand that. And every leader need to understand that, my neighbor in my industry is my interdependency on departments. Whether it's finance, it's HR, it's commercial, it is technology, it's anything, you administration, you have to depend daily on them. But every day you have a fight with them. You have mail, you are mailing very tough words to them, sometimes very counter, very appraising words to them. But how you sustain this thing in a positive way, creating that four quadrants of connect is more important for a leader. That's how the coming back to my question answer, the toughest time in, I spent almost 22 years in Jindal Steel. It's one of the dream company to work for people. It's not like me, like you, like everybody. This is one company whose learning is infinite.
Yeah.
This is one company whose ownership is infinite. This is one company where respect is infinite. And every day is a new day for. That's how the values drive us: respect for all, better than before, extreme ownership, and sustaining all the qualities of life. I remember those days I was put as head of HR at one mines division and pellet plant division. It was Asia's largest pellet plant of 9 million tons and three big mines of iron ore. I have given task by the management during the very critical time of life, that is COVID. I don't want to, say something about COVID, because this will take back everybody to the those lost their loved one. This is one of the toughest, one of the most transformational, assignment I have been given. I led and setting up the HR ecosystem at that largest mines and pellet plant, which is politically sensitive, resource-rich built up foods. We are not just building infrastructure and mining operation or pellet plant operation. We are talking to, working into the creating the trust at that time. I'll come back to the COVID, in later on, but I'll tell you one story why the Cassia mines was reopened, on after acquisition. People, the community, they have a different opinion for the past companies, but they have no idea about what is JSP, Jindal Steel and Power, what value, what culture we're driving. I've been given the humongous task. to bringing back to community to the sensitive issues and overruling all those things and maintaining the sanity. Local communities were very skeptical. So was the contractors. And even I'll tell you the internal teams doubted stability. That company was not up to the mark. How we are going to? There are no roads, no systems, no precedents, just pressure and expectation. Pressure from different angles and expectation from management and people. I remember, I realized that, the real question was not how do, we roll out the policy. I think it was how do we earn permission to lead and drive. I remember we started by listening to their, frustrations, their anger, their issues, their expectations. So, sitting on roads, under trees, for hours, days, weeks, and talking to the villagers, the village leaders, not to present our plan, what we want to bring in, but to understand their problems, their issues, and the most important factor, their fears, why they don't want to allow us. We collaborate and involve local leaders, communities, and every individual villagers, explaining them what is their expectation, what we are going to give back to them. They expect X number of job. So once I understood this is nothing. The employability we are creating in lakhs and thousands, and the expectation is hundreds. While you communicate with a transparency, with a huge heart, and mind as like them, then it comes, sounds like, we're not outsiders.
Yeah, very well said, sir.
They collaborate with us, they allow us, they invited us. They only taken decision, okay, now the minds and the operation will start. It is how, as a leader, you have to not influence it, I'll say. You have to be very true to yourself. So the next, this is something that I captured the most, and I think this is a wonderful journey of minds, setting up the Kasia minds issues and this entire agitation and everything. I remember the second issue once I given a task of transforming the life of 35,000 workers, and improving their quality of life, improving productivity as well, improving compliance systems, processes as well. It was the largest 12 million ton steel plant at Angul, Odisha. I've given a task of heading business HR for the entire plant of 12 million ton, 26 kilometers, diameter, 9 clusters. You name it cement, you name it mining, you name it power, you name it to steel, you name it to mills, you name it to iron zone. There are huge tasks to be driven. Everything in unmanaged, no systems in place. So bringing compliances, CLMS process into place, bringing face punching system attendance discipline in place, it was a humongous task. Taking people to plant to make productivity increase, make the project pace in place. It was a humongous task. People used to go, plant at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. The attendance is very poor. The contractors have a different mindset. It will go for face punching or punching system. This you have to pay them as per the legal minimum wages. So there is a fear of everything that this system will break us. We'll lose our jobs. The supervisors thought we'll lose our jobs. This kind of concept. So there we are driving the business HR for the largest integrated steel plant. I was tasked with the improving quality as I told.
Yeah,
So again, there is 100% green initiative. We need to replace every vehicle, whether it is a car, whether it is a bus, with electronics, derived vehicles, that is EV, nowadays. So our management is more prone towards green initiative. So that's a humongous task given, bringing 35,000 people to task through transportation. How many buses you require? How many vehicles you require? Bringing 5-10,000 employees to work. There's a humongous task need to be done quickly. I'll tell you one thing. So we co-create systems and platforms to handle queries, grievances, ideas, surveys, suggestions. It is not that something I just did it as a leader. You have to obey this order. No, you have to buy their mindsets, buy their interests, because you have people from diversity, different gender diversity, different sectors. We have millennium childs, we have Gen Z, we have old mindsets. Bringing them back to one platform to bring sanity to this green initiative and productivity is a humongous task. We created systems in different languages, Odia, Hindi, English, you know, having said that, the platforms helped me with different. This entire thing, I wrote a book on BHR Katha. This HR Katha, like Gita Bhagavad. I wrote a booklet on this of BHR Katha. Amazed to listen that, once time permit, I'll show you sometime. This from resource hiring till exit. The entire Katha I have written down in 7 months' time after giving, kind of my task oriented situation. We created, I think, the laborers, the workers, the blue collar, every company, they were the unprivileged people to be taken care of the last. And they are the hands. You can bring back your head, but if you don't have the heart to connect with the hand, they are not going to work at the ground level. That brings back to me that I need to do something best for the workers. You can see in my back, there is a poster. I led many initiatives, engagement programs, which bring back sanity to them, trust to them, and that's how we bring them back to with loyalty and trust for the company and productivity.
Yeah, that's very well said. So I think they're the base and the strongest foundation of any company.
And one more thing I left out, we created air condition flats and halls for them where they live, because we understand that our chairman always speak about, if you want to grow in life, focus on the growth of these workers, because India will shine, India will grow, economic will develop if the last man in the queue of kind of poorest man in the queue is now elevated to lead and be a wealth creator. That's how we always believe in that. So many task force. I remember one more things, getting them into work at the scheduled time of 7 a.m. How to get these workers to work at 7 a.m. while their usual process is that they get up at 8 o'clock, they're ready by 9 o'clock, at plant at 9:30 and 10 o'clock. Attendance shows only few hundreds are punching. And my expectation, they're 100% attendance of 35,000. This is a big challenge. So I realized to connect with them. The funda mantra of mine is connect, develop, and inspire. I've been to the labor colonies, make something grand happening there with connecting with them, developing them, inspiring them in personal aspect. In the morning, having DJ and yoga, meditation, and kabaddi and all dance programs in the early morning, give them a boost to get up from the bed. Be ready by 7 o'clock because there is a dance program. There is another very curious program for them, for their families. And the buses are ready with electronic vehicles. The mics, the DJ systems are ready. In the buses also, in the transportation system also, there is kind of amusement, encouragement, entertainment happening. So people don't think that we're going to job. We're going to celebrate something. And we made Ramu Kakas at this. And that Ramu Kaka helped me to achieve the business space. That's not sound amazing, can I?
Actually, sir, to
Thank you.
get all these initiatives, and especially like you said, office can be a very different feeling, but it's someone's job to make it feel like going there every day. So as India moves towards a self-reliant future, this Atmanirbhar Bharat vision, I want to ask you something that ties your experience to the country's larger story. What role do you believe CHROs, especially in sectors like mining and infrastructure, need to play in nation building and skilling?
See, Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's an initiative by Government of India and people of India. I think this is something the need of the hour. We always believe we have driven by external forces. I remember before 1950, somebody else ruled us. And before to that, after that also, many kings makers, they also ruled us. Where is the chance that people are growing? I'll tell you one before coming back to your question. I want to elaborate on something. You are in the family. I am also from the family of joint family. That people are there. See, as a father, I am doing everything in my life. I'll get up, I'll go to bed late, I'll do everything, I'll organize everything, I'll monitor everything, I'll encourage everything, everybody, I'll safeguard everybody. This is my moral responsibility and duty and sacrifice. But then what is the role of your kids? What is the role of your kind of mates or handholding people? As a leader, you don't want to have to work every time. Now what to do? You put that kind of values to people down the line. The same concept apply in professional journeys. As a leader, as a CHRO, as a head of departments, this is my true extreme ownership is that how to create C3 level of competence. While I'm saying C3 level of competency means you are C. You have to create another C1, C2, C3 till your grandchild. I mean to say till your workers. They should understand your goal, your business in a way you understand with extreme ownership. That's bring back ethics and values, trust and loyalty to the system. I
True.
followed a value called possible. P is passion. O is ownership. S is sense of belongingness. S is synergy and sustaining development. I is integrity and eligibility. B is business excellence. And you tell me what is the E? E is the employee, not the employee, the energetic employee,
Yeah.
the empathetic employee who is driving these values of passion, ownership, and sense of belongingness. So always I said duty and sacrifice, four quadrant of life, connect, develop, and inspire. You get the Ramu Kaka right place for the right kind of actions, right hiring in the place. Ajay
Yeah.
HR.
And
I
that's the goal.
believe CHRs in sector like mining, infrastructure, and manufacturing are architect of India's workforce backbone. They are not just HR leaders, or I'm not a HR leader. We are the nation builders in uniform. That sounds good because our work is not digital. It is physical, it is relational, and it is transformational. Unlike technology, in IT sector in technology, which scales with code, binary code, or you understood this, earlier stage. We scale by mobilizing people in some of the India's toughest, kind of demography and geography, tribal belts, red zones, underdeveloped district, and turning them into productivity, dignified ecosystem of growth. So at JSP, through skill development, that I was telling you about the upskilling. You hire a Ramu Kaka, but if you will not give them resource, give them handholding, give them the right kind of education, what you need in life and every day from morning to evening, how they are going to contribute? Are you going to squeeze every time? This is not happening, that is not happening. You are firing people, and that is attrition is happening in a huge. You are controlling, you are doing yourself everything, and you are then controlling the attrition. How? Retention is something through Dakshata. Dakshata means skill India kind of initiative. We did in JSPI. Our chairman, Mr. Naveen Jindal, is a 3 times member of parliament from Kurukshetra. He is a multitasking man. We are a very good fan of him. He is physically fit. He drive fitness, but I always follow him. He drive politics. He drive business. He drive family values. He connect with workers. If such a wonderful leader is doing so grassroots jobs, then what about me and other CHROs in the world? We created Naveen Jindal Skill Center for skill excellency. We create OP Jindal Community College, OPJCC, for skill excellency. We drive LAMP. We drive Nests. These are platforms where we handle people from onboarding, hiring, sourcing till exit. Because we believe if some person is, leaving us, he should live with legacy. He should remember us as JSP, as family members, as Sarat for entire life. That's something we always believe, giving values to the society. We gave them the local youth, the diverse people, the community, the transferable skills, turning unemployed youth into wages kind of earners and often entrepreneurs and wealth creators. We gave lakhs of rural and tribal youth transferable skills, turning first generation arms into supervisor, safety marshals, and the skill operators in different aspects, and even entrepreneurs and wealth creators in life. I'm not saying 100,000, it's lakhs and lakhs. For me, every skilling program is about turning a worker a wealth creator for themselves, for their families, and their nation as a whole. This is not CSR, it's strategy. A skilled worker workforce is safer always, more compliant, more layer, cost efficiency, and maybe strengthens the community stability. It also reduces the migration stress from other countries, other states to your place and cities, and build self-reliant, kind of economic or local economic, exactly in the line with what you said, Atmanirbhar Bharat. Nation building through HR means, what? Creating jobs where people live, integrating women, men, and tribal communities into formal systems, and shifting the lens from workforce to work source. I'm saying workforce to work source because at the end of the day, we don't just build organizations, we build livelihoods, we build confidence, we build the country of or the nation of our dreams. For me, if you ask me, leadership for me is not about a hierarchy, what label I'm working. It's about the human impact I'm bringing in, the trust I'm bringing in, the loyalty I'm putting, the lives you touch, and the change you leave behind through one mantra that is again my CDI: connect, develop, inspire through my duty and sacrifice for the company, for the family, for the society, and for the nation as a whole, or the world as a whole. At the end of the day, every time we skill someone, we don't just build capability, we unlock confidence. And to me, a confident citizen is the most powerful unit of self-reliant nation. Is that not, Tanmay?
100%. So now I want to bring in the tech angle. You've rolled out platforms like Mitra, CLMS, SAP, HRIS, not small upgrades but deep digital shifts. How do you approach tech adoption in sectors that are traditionally not very tech first? Like, what's your playbook for getting people on board?
Well, that's something you touched my heart because the major challenge is that technology and AI, Chat GPT, a lot of things you are talking about nowadays. But I don't know, these are disruptions or something really new coming up. But definitely these are the tools which help humankind. AI cannot replace the human kind of mind. It can't. But yes, it enables some of the kind of your efforts to bring sanity, bring quickness, and bring some clarity to your thoughts. In heavy industry, the biggest barrier to take is not hardware, it's mindset. People trust, supervisors more than systems. Suppose we both work together. I know you are close to me, and I can talk to you with loyalty, honesty, and everything. I can have a faith on you. But you bring a system yourself, I'll take some time to observe. So that's how I tell. This is not hardware. This is biggest challenge: how to read the mindset of people. And any change feels like threat to a job. Nowadays social media is happening, that the AI is there, people are going to lose job. I'll bring back to them that you thought of the days there is a litho machine. You remember litho machine? Have you heard about litho? No. Before typewriter. Then comes the mechanical of typewriter. How many people lost their job? They upgrade themselves. Instead of litho machine, they use typewriter. Then comes the electronics typewriter. Now people lost the job. No. People upgrade them to use the electronic typewriter. Then come the laptop or desktop. People lost their job. No. Same people with additional values, they bring up. They come up with ideas and all. They all learn the skill and they become computer operators. Then comes your laptops, the Apple products, everything. People used Androids. If you give them an Apple phone, it may be some challenging time for them, but you believe them, trust them, give them the platform, they'll learn in 3 days, even 1 hour. It all depends upon how you make them learn. When he rolled out, I'll tell you at Angul, the biggest transformation journey of compliance digitalization. Entire thing was in my shoulder. In 7 months, I proved I have done the best for the company. I have done the wonderful job for the people. And they accepted that. Where the punching system was 5%, 2%, 0%, with the finger punch and then card punch system, somebody else is doing their job, this job. I quickly changed from that landscape to digital process of face punch system, retina reading, geofencing system, where there is a fear factor, 100% attendance system and transparency along with the CLMS. Then the contract labor management. Everybody used to do the Excel sheet, doing this 1946 era of doing all the government sections, filling of the forms, the registers and all. Nowadays, e-Parishram portal is there. Everything is transparent. If the government is doing fantastic job, the government, state government, the central government, they are bringing very, very new kind of platforms for us. But what we don't want to change our mindset because there is some prior practices going on. I was comfortable, he was comfortable, we were comfortable in this. So again, my mantra has been simple: digitized system, but humanitize transitions. You make any digital system, no issue. But first, humanize the transitions. So we shifted the strategy from take fast to trust first. I always say technology is 20%, but 80% is your psychology. Before changing this 20% technology, you have to bring this 80% psychological effect in place. Then only the acceptance is quick. I bring in platforms like CLMS, FacePunch, Nest, Lamp, Mitras, My Travels, Mitras, means those, the other Mitras, HR Sarathi is one of the best initiative on technological platform, where I have to connect with one head of department, 5 employees, 25 workers every day. And so as my team down the line, 100 team members below me, pushing the same. This is not something that we're building, very, very complex problem. We're there to solve, like AI is solving our problem. We launched them with local languages. We piloted them with, site champions. We celebrate early wins. We celebrate every movement, every productivity. You punch for 26 days in a month. In the face punch, you will get 2,000. Next month, 3,000. Next month, 4,000. Kind of reward points. So there is a loss to the face punch system. I have to punch fast. Otherwise, I lose my kind of reward recognition and these incentives. And while they understood that, the OT is now clear. We earlier used to have all form fillings and all. If the paper has lost, you lost everything OT. Everything is transparent. One button click, you are there. While they understood, the 35,000 workforce, while they understood this reality of life, technology, and the digital process, they allowed us, they welcomed us. But for that, I died many times in everyday life. Getting out early in the morning at 4:30 and 5 o'clock, rushing to labor colony, giving time to them till 9, 10 o'clock, then to business, then back to kind of community for their services, then back to business, then back to kind of quality of life for people, then the entire night moving around and taking care of people, those working the plant in three shifts, taking care of people in the colony, they were sleeping because there is all kiosk, all nuisance also happening, people have all the bad habits and all, facing that challenges, but ensuring zero fatality, ensuring zero kind of nonsense is something the leader to bring in the table. The transformation was emotional as much as digital. Workforce felt heard. Supervisor became coaches, and technology became a shared language of accountability and opportunity. Because you learn the art of digitalization of trust, what that digital became at JSP and in the life of Sarat and people. Thank you. I think I answered it little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so time now to lighten things up. This is our rapid fire round. Five quick questions, one word or one sentence answers only. Are you ready?
Yes, I think this is something I always listen in podcast and hear. So I realize that this is something very interesting kind of thing. Yes, please go ahead.
One word your team would use to describe you.
Yes, there are many sentences and words describe me, but I'll be honest. It will be grounded, and if you allow me extend, it is steadfast.
First job you ever did and one thing it taught you.
First off, I was in courtroom in legal aspects. So that time I taught the rules are only as strong as the relationship behind them. You bring that kind of connect.
Yeah. One food dish that instantly feels like home.
See, I'm from Odisha, and I don't know whether you heard about Odisha or not. So they had we call it pakhala bhat, is rice. The rice you eat there with water and or putting it for fermentation and all. That is called Odisha style of pakhala bhat. I always like this because you have 21 kind of supporting dishes to support one rice item.
Yeah.
Once you they are in Odisha, you just enjoy that pakhala bhat. Thank you.
One leadership code that stuck with you over the years.
My leadership code is connect, develop, and inspire. Duty and sacrifice is the supporting picture. But
Yeah.
as rightly said, in a professional language, I can say culture, something we should build, and culture is strategy for breakfast and extreme ownership also part. So I'll elaborate this in this. Thank you.
If you could go back and give advice to your 30-year-old self in one sentence, what would you say?
I always do that because I know they are the future leaders, future CHROs, and future everything. So definitely, our first and foremost thing is that showing leadership to build leadership in them, and how they should lead. Leadership is nothing. It's a transparency. So lead with empathy, but never compromise on trust and integrity.
Yeah.
That is one line I must tell.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. That gets us to the end of the rapid fire round. So you recently joined Directors Institute, stepping into a space of boardroom readiness, ESG, and governance education. What motivated you to take that step, and how is the experience added to your journey at this stage of your career?
This is a very good question, Ryan. Tanna. Thank you so much for asking me this question. I was knowing that you will definitely ask such questions in the because this is your platform. So, I spent almost 34 years in the industry, out of which 27 years in the operational leadership as human resource, in the human resource department. I felt it was time to shift from execution to influence, to shape system at a governance level. I have worked in industries where every decision affects thousands and thousands and lakhs of self and families. Over time, I realized my questions were changing from how do we solve this to how do we prevent this? Every time you cannot be solving problems. You are not a problem solver. You can instantly do something, but you need to have a sustainability kind of thing, how to prevent this, because prevention is better than cure. How do we save the system so these people don't arise And this problem do not arise in life. That's what led me to think, rethink, rebuild a concept, where to go, where to learn this art. Then I came across this Director Institute and all the entire kind of scenario where this attracted me to be a part of this learning platform and journey platform. It is not about adding a title through this platform. It is about shifting from execution to influence, problem solving to policy step shaping, from being a people leader to becoming a system leader. I have come to believe execution without ethics is a fragile. I think you'll agree to this. Governance without empathy is blind. India's rapid ESG and governance evolution means boardroom needs more fast voices, especially from sectors like heavy industries, manufacturing, mining, and infrastructure, where people impact is massive. I'm sure my learning with Director Institute will definitely sharpen my ability to see HR policies through a board and ESG lens, not just as compliance, but as long-term value that will be driving the kind of young generations and young mindsets. For me, as well as the business, for me, this step was not about career growth or title. It was about widening my horizon to serve both business and governance inside the boardroom to build Bharat of our dreams or Atmanirbhar Bharat of our dreams.
Thank you so much for those kind words, sir, and for being so open for sharing the wins, the hard moments, and the mindset that carried you through it all, and for especially for joining us today. So, thank you so much for being on the show, sir.
So, Tana, before I leave, I must appreciate you and your team and the Director Institute for giving me such platform to elaborate certain little things to hear and share some of my challenges, my journey to the business leaders, the CHROs, those who will be listening to these podcasts. And I'll tell you one thing: the leadership is not about having all the answers. It is about asking the right questions, listening deeply, and acting with integrity. If there's one truth my journey has taught me, it's leadership is not about being at the top. It's about making sure no one at the bottom feels left behind. Whether in plant, boardroom, or village meetings, the fundamental don't change. Head for strategy, heart for empathy, and hands for execution. My mantra has been always there, as simple as you understood, connect, develop, inspire through duty and sacrifice. When you connect, you build trust. When you develop, you build capacity. When you inspire, you build legacy. So I wrote a poem on this, one line poem. I'll tell you for the audience. हम लोग, we always believe in kismat, luck. So the line is in Hindi. I will take permission of you and audience to bring back the sanity of Hindi, being a Hindi Rashtra people. And today is, 15th August. So on Happy Independence Day. एक किस्मत आ तेरे से शर्त लगाता हूँ, तेरा भी दम देखता हूँ और अपना भी आजमाता हूँ. एक किस्मत आ
Wow.
तेरे से शर्त लगाता हूँ, तेरा भी दम देखता हूँ और अपना भी आजमाता हूँ. तो लाख कोशिश कर मेरे रास्ते में सोले भी चले. तू लाख कोशिश कर मेरे लर्निंग को बंद करने की. तू लाख कोशिश कर मेरे को सब चीज से दूर भगाने की. तू लाख कोशिश कर मुझे डायरेक्टर इंस्टीट्यूट से पार करने की. फिर भी मैं उठूंगा, दौड़ूंगा, अपनी सारे वो ख्वाहिश, सारे वो मंजिल पार करूंगा. किस्मत आ तेरे से साथ लगाता हूँ, तेरा भी दम दिखता हूँ और अपना भी आजमाता हूँ. ये मैं सारे यंगस्टर्स के लिए बोलना चाहता हूँ, जो भी लॉक के ऊपर डिपेंड करते हैं, किस्मत के ऊपर डिपेंड करके मारे हुए बैठे हुए हैं. प्लीज गेट अप, please get up and take a promise. I'll do best in the society. I'll best for me, best for my family, best for my industry, best for the nation, and best for the world. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Vande Mataram. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. To our audience, if you've been thinking about what it takes to lead through change, build culture at scale, or step into boardroom conversation with confidence, I hope today's episode gave you more than just an insight. I hope it gave you a little inspiration too. This is FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. Until next time, lead with purpose, stay future ready, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.